Hello, my jelly fighters. My name is Jim, and this is your daily brogue for 20260713, the 13th of July, 2026. Okay, so what was I talking about before? I was talking about, didn't need to do that. I was talking about what I talked about in my Substack post. So, I did not get to the point where I was talking about AI, but I was talking about how Scenery Dart's good sign. They had talked about how I thought that in general, Ring of Light, um, gatekeeping done by large presses used to be very useful, right? Basically because they had a financial incentive to make sure that the books they produced were good. They tried to produce good books, books that people would enjoy reading, right? Um, but what happened, or what seems to have happened, right? I can't tell you what exactly happened, but I can tell you what it looks like, right? What seems to have happened. Thinking three, okay. What seems to have happened is that um, the hiring practices of these companies has led to editors who sort of put their politics above their fiduciary obligations to the company. And so we've gotten much worse. I shouldn't say much worse, but we've gotten slates of yeah, slates of books that are not as good. Now, figuring that out is kind of difficult. Why? Well, because um, novels have always been like so many other things, unfortunately, where you novels are like startups. Let's put it that way. So we know the old saw that you know a VP or a VC will not chainmail, rival awareness. Yes. And we will leave the ring of light, although that doesn't let us get another thing. Um, so a VC will hire or will back 10 projects, hoping that one of them will really take off. Two or three of them will break even, and the rest of them you just got to write off as losses. Because they don't actually know what's going to be good and what's going to be profitable. And the same thing is true for publishers and novels. So that gatekeeping function isn't 100%. So it's very difficult to look at something and say, another to take magic. These people are guessing wrong on purpose, right? Instead, they might just be guessing wrong, right? They have their own good views about what makes a good and what makes a bad novel. And they just might not align 100% with the market. And there's nothing nefarious about that, right? That's perfectly okay. But even if there is nothing nefarious, whatever they were doing did not, in fact, best serve the interests of their not a great ring transference. Oops, purple gas. Drop that ring. Anything else here I need to drop? D. O. Very nice. Those guys back have nothing I need, so but we always love a good goblin war. So there we go. So there's something wrong with the gatekeeping function. And I think I showed that by talking about a couple of novelists that I like, and one of them in particular, right, was Dungeon Crawler Carl, which is not my favorite of those, but it is a good novel. Okay, back. What was I saying? It doesn't matter. Where am I? Is hmm, these other schools? G is Catholic and N scattering. Okay. Okay. So I think I said that there seems to be a problem, even if there's no um actual intent or something, right? There's probably some kind of misfeasance, not necessarily any malfeasance. That yes, okay, I'm pretty sure. That is, I think, um, it's not necessarily an intent. Now, sometimes when I've heard people talk about what's going on in the publishing industry, it is an intent. It is political. People say that there is a actual conspiracy. You'd say. Uh, so that is probably a teleport. Not what I meant. Not what I meant to do. Do I get more gold? Just make it look nice. Um, so I think that some of what I'm going to say might, if the assertions of some people are correct. Um, some of the things I might say would apply here to um, people in the publishing industry, editors in the publishing industry, if they are acting in that way. So now what really gets me though is people that think they have the authority to determine what other people can do based on um, whatever. Usually it's some idea about how it is gatekeeping, right? So it is some idea about pedigree or um, prominence or something like that. People shouldn't be able to do things if they don't pay their dues, for example, is one I've heard a lot. Call T, paying your dues. So let's get rid of that. We should have gotten rid of that a long time ago. Um, so we have a okay banded mail, right? Okay, remember that? I am wrong. There is no banded mail. We have incendiary darts. Banded mail must have been in a thing. I have a hemlock staff, which I know is not a staff of blinking. What do I? There were the staffs. But it could be anything except a firebolt and a blinking. Haste, exactly what I don't want. Okay, so what's going on? Haste, that's gonna be bad. I die. Okay, so that's what I get for this. Nothing really good. I forgot the teleportation in one of those drops. Strength of 15, I could have used the rapier. I would have been taking a chance, but I probably should have. The incendiary darts, I could have used the incendiary darts instead of going in here, instead of trying that potion. So, not a lot.